Ladies and gentlemen, some good news. This is the Washington Examiner. Jason Chaffetz, FISA report delays signals Durham prosecution. So, FISA report delays signals Durham prosecution. Former Republican Utah Representative Jason Chaffetz offered a possible explanation for the delayed release of the Justice Department Inspector General report on alleged Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Okay. Chaffetz suggested the most recent delay may be tied to U.S. Attorney John Durham, who as of last month is conducting a criminal investigation into the origins of the Russia investigation. Quote, I don't think it has anything to do, he's talking about the delay, I don't think it has anything to do with Horowitz delaying it, said Chaffetz. Quote, I think it's the fact that Durham actually is moving forward on some prosecutions. And then he goes, I think it's actually going to happen before Thanksgiving. So, like Philippe Reines said, Clinton's top staffer and advisor, November is the best month. So if we get prosecutions and Clinton running, it's going to be like H.A. Goodman winning the lottery and, getting a hole-in-one on the golf course. I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean. It was reported Wednesday, the Justice Department, FBI was, quote, nearing completion. Then he said, I learned a long time ago from Inspectors General, when the subject of the investigation starts squealing before it's published, you know it's going to be devastating, Chaffetz said. He listed John Brennan, James Clapper, James Comey, and Andrew McCabe squealing the most. Now, I do believe McCabe will be the first one indicted. There's also James Baker, who's the FBI top legal counsel. Look, let's just take a step back. This is very important. The knock on me is that, you said that Clinton would get indicted in 2016. Well, did she commit crimes? What's the answer to that? Is it legal to own servers? Forget about whether or not they pursued prosecution. Can anyone own a server outside the United States government and transfer or make it so that their inbox of their email on their cell phone will accept top secret intelligence from the United States government? Is that even feasible from a cybersecurity perspective? Can you go into the Trump administration right now and have your own servers for 4 years? Imagine if Mike Pompeo had servers running completely where only Mike Pompeo could service them or touch them or whatever, or have access to these servers outside of the United States government. And his reasoning was, I thought it was convenient. And he ended up deleting 30,000 emails. Do you think that they wouldn't say this was Trump? These are Trump's emails. These are letters. These are communication. This is communication with Putin. This is what Mueller didn't get. This is, could you imagine what they would say? You know where I'm going with this. It's tough to. They would never allow. So I'm just giving you a background into this, okay? Before we get to the Steele dossier, Clinton deleted 30,000 emails. There was an FBI criminal investigation. Then she gave her servers, not all of them, but she gave certain servers to Comey and Strzok and McCabe and Clapper, and they were completely wiped clean. Or no, not Clapper, but they were completely wiped clean. And then on July 5th, 2016, Comey says, she did this, that, and this, and foreign actors might have almost certainly, infiltrated the servers, and she had top secret, she had special access program intelligence, she had 100 email chains. She had 2,000 plus classified emails. She should have known better. People emailing her should have known better. And at the end of the day, no reasonable prosecutor would indict. Well, of course, actually, the opposite is true. A reasonable prosecutor would have indicted. So they hide behind protocol. They hide behind the United States government because their mentality is they're the law. So if the law does it, what can you say? Their mentality is if they're wearing the badge, this is this is a Hillary 2020 shirt. Why do you think I'm wearing this? Because the entire process has to be completed. Clinton has to run again and lose again to Trump. That's the only way we can get through this as a country. But that's a whole other story. So her crimes were real, genuine, and she got away with them because Comey covered them up. Now, nobody asked how she was able to transfer top secret and special access program intelligence onto servers and then onto her laptop or her cell phone, because she only used her BlackBerry cell phone. Now, she's traveling around the world. The whole planet knows that she has servers. Does anyone think that the Russian intelligence services or the intelligence services everywhere in the world, do you think that they didn't know she had private servers? Michael Hayden, former spy chief under President Obama and President Bush, I believe, well, definitely President Bush, stated that he would lose respect for foreign intelligence agencies. So why am I harping on this? If they didn't infiltrate her servers, why am I harping on this? Because that is the original sin. This is the biggest cybersecurity debacle of all time. She made an absolute and complete mockery of the intelligence community. Luckily for the intelligence community, the average American doesn't care, and the average American is going to side with their political allegiances or alliances. No, doesn't matter what Clinton does. So Clinton could do anything, and they'll vote for her again, like cheat Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders was cheated. Bernie Sanders won't even say he was cheated. Then he's going to fight the 1%, and he's going to tell Bloomberg, you're not going to buy this election. Well, Bloomberg doesn't care. Clinton is going to be nominee. She's going to run again and be nominee. Forget about the running part. Clinton will become Democratic Party nominee. That's obvious. But then you go to Clapper and Brennan and McCabe. Andrew McCabe was part of this, part of investigating Clinton, as was Strzok, as was Comey. But Andrew McCabe is going to get indicted. And like I said, I've been saying this forever, because the Inspector General said he should have been indicted, but he actually lied under oath numerous times for self-serving purposes, which is perjury. He lied with the intent to lie. So, why? Because his wife received hundreds of thousands of dollars from Terry McAuliffe and Democratic Party PACs, all linked to Clinton. Clinton doesn't give McCabe money and shove dollar bills in his pocket. Just like Clinton didn't shove dollar bills into Christopher Steele's pocket, and Bill Clinton didn't shove dollar bills into CrowdStrike's pocket. And the Clinton Foundation, wealthy donors, 85 donors who gave $156 million, didn't make it rain for both Clintons. What they do is they use conduits. This is not rocket science. The media doesn't care, because the media only cares about if it's a conduit or if it's some kind of link or tie, if it's with Trump. With Clinton, they're completely hands-off, but even their hands-off approach is damaging to the Clinton Foundation. Because even at this point, the past 4 or 5 years, where media is in just complete public relations mode for the Clintons, and the Democratic Party, they still have to report. There's really nothing. They have to report on what took place. So now they've convinced people, oh, well, Clinton didn't use this. There was no intent to deceive, or what was it? There was no intentional mishandling. Well, who cares? First of all, there was, but let's say there was unintentional mishandling. So how did she unintentionally get the top secret intelligence on servers she unintentionally owned? But the issue here is Andrew McCabe not only covered up Clinton's crimes, but he went after Trump, and he went after Michael Flynn and set him up. And Durham knows this because he's already put away FBI agents. You don't think Andrew McCabe's attorneys know that John Durham has already put away FBI agents in prison? You don't think they know this? This is not it's not sustainable. The Democratic Party, what they're doing is not sustainable. Even though you have people who, they look at Trump, they can't stand him, but they can't name a crime he's committed. Now, with Clinton, it's U.S. The statute is the 793F statute. The statute with that McCabe and Comey and Strzok and Clapper and Brennan, they committed is the U.S. Code 371 statute. I explain those statutes in the Federalist. That's in the pinned comment. It's in my Federalist article. Comey and McCabe should be charged. They defrauded the United States government, but McCabe is going to get indicted because his wife received money for her presidential campaign from Democrats, for her state political campaign. It doesn't matter, the fact that an FBI agent's spouse receives money from a political party, that is a conflict of interest. You must recuse yourself. He recused himself 2 weeks before the election. Then he went after Michael Flynn, and then he went after Trump, and then he went after they know what, and then he leaked information regarding a Clinton Foundation probe, which, by the way, I wonder what happened to that probe. It's probably still ongoing, almost certainly. But he leaked information to the Wall Street Journal under the premise or the guise, the pretext of, oh, well, I'm so tough on the Clintons. Look, how can I be compromised because my spouse got almost $1 million from Democrats for her campaign? How could I possibly be compromised? Look, I'm leaking this information. See how tough I am on the Clintons? And then you get people in the media, they're like, and guess what? You'll never believe it. McCabe leaked information, dun dun dun, detrimental to Hillary. Yeah, because there's such a litany of absurd controversies where Clinton, the golden muumuu, is overtly committing crimes. There's such a litany of these that they're tripping all over themselves trying to cover this stuff up. That's why a week before the election, they're like, oh, Comey ruined the election. Well, Comey was trying to cover up her crimes, but the cover-up wasn't good enough. So they found more classified intelligence on Uma Abedin's husband's laptop. And then they had to use, 20 hazmat suits at least to even touch the laptop. Could you imagine? The type of microbes? And it's like, you don't even want to go there. It's like the movie Outbreak. So, I feel bad for those agents, but you have this, they use a Steele dossier purchased by Clinton because she funneled money through her law firm, and then her law firm paid Fusion GPS, and then Fusion GPS paid. And so media, Christopher Steele, then media says, well, she didn't know. Everything's plausible deniability. President Obama didn't know his Secretary of State had a service for 4 years. He didn't know. It's like, what? But Trump knows everything? And the logic they use to defend President Obama and Hillary Clinton and Attorney General Loretta Lynch, she met with Bill Clinton to speak about golf, Brexit, and grandchildren. Could you imagine if William Barr, met with Melania, let's say Melania Trump was under FBI criminal investigation, and then Attorney General William Barr met with Trump on a plane, and just to speak about golf, Brexit, and grandchildren. They would never allow that. And then, Melania didn't get indicted, even though she had owned servers with top secret intel on them. What if anyone in the Trump administration owned servers with top secret intel? Oh, you better believe they'd care. You know what you should do? I mean, this is everything that Clinton did, reverse it and say that Trump did it and see how they would react. Trump destroyed, with a NATO intervention, Libya. Oh my God, the supremacy, the tiki torch. Could you imagine? He did this because he destroyed. Now he said something bad about a country, so that's worse, allegedly, because we have no proof. A Democratic staffer said it, that he said something bad about a nation. And we have President Obama's foreign policy. He destroyed Libya. Oopsie. And then they say, well, President Obama said, my biggest mistake. And well, how presidential of him. Meanwhile, the country's in flames and it's like complete chaos. And the wonderful liberals are like, Trump's personality. He's ruining democracy. Meanwhile, President Obama, failed NATO intervention, completely destroys a country, and then he drinks Flint water under the guise of, to say that it's safe to drink. It wasn't safe to drink when he drank it. He drank Flint water in a shameful publicity stunt. And liberals, no problem. Democrats, well, what? Nobody even knows it happened. Nobody even knows. Then you have the largest expansion of domestic oil and gas production in U.S. history of any president. And it's like climate change, and if you don't believe it, if you don't, work hard to combat climate change, you are like the biggest, most horrible person. And then President Obama, last year, it's like, yeah, that's me, people. I'm the reason we're number one in oil production. By the way, God bless the veterans of our country. God bless you. If you're a veteran, you and your family, God bless you, and thank you for watching this channel. And thank you for enjoying my work and reading my writing. And God bless you, and thank you for your service, and thank you for your sacrifice, and thank you. Thanks to all the family members of veterans for everything they do. And then you have John Bolton now, who's like, oh yeah, I have notes on Trump. It's like, it's people like John Bolton. Trump didn't hire Bolton because of his knowledge. He doesn't know anything about foreign policy. You think like they say, like Cheney and Rumsfeld, and you think these people know a lot about foreign policy? They don't know. They are not intelligent, or they don't possess any wisdom. They possess intelligence to achieve whatever they wanted to achieve. That is different from it being good for the United States or for the world. They were smart enough to get away with and do what they wanted to do, to implement what they wanted to implement. That certainly does not correlate to it being good for the country or it being good for the world, which it wasn't. Wasn't good for the country, certainly wasn't good for that region of the world, and created more problems, and exponentially more problems. So did President Obama's foreign policy. When Trump hired Bolton, Bolton's a yes man. So, and he also appeased the establishment. Appeased the left also, because the foreign policy of the left now is Max Boot, Bill Kristol. Same foreign policy as John Bolton. So they quieted. So Trump was like, okay, you know what? Let's just hire this guy. He's a yes man. He'll do his job. He's happy now. He's national security advisor. And then, then he left. But they just set up Trump. Bolton's like, oh, I have this information on Trump. Like, who cares what Bolton says? They're going to impeach Trump to pave the way for Clinton because Clinton's running. I mean, we're going to have a pretty nice couple of months. Hillary Clinton's going to run. It's going to be 2016 all over again, 2016 will never end in American politics, ever. As long as Democrats pretend that Russia interfered in their election because they were so afraid of Hillary. And they love Trump. Even though President Trump is more hawkish on Russia than President Obama was, who stated, we're going to come in with a Russian reset, and told Mitt Romney that the 80s want their foreign policy back. I mean, it's like... Anyway. Then 3 years of Mueller, and it's Mueller time. And then when they really got Mueller time, it was like, what? Glenn Simpson? I don't know the man. He didn't know anything. He said he didn't know how the Steele dossier was, how they paid for how Democrats paid for the Steele dossier through Clinton's campaign. He didn't know anything. He couldn't find, and then he's like, well, if we were convinced he didn't commit a crime, we would tell you. Who cares if you were convinced? You're a prosecutor. If indict the person or no. Okay? Don't say the evidence was insufficient. There was no evidence. If indeed Trump Jr. meeting with Natalia Veselnitskaya was evidence, then it would have been part of a plot, which it wasn't part of a plot. Natalia Veselnitskaya has no direct correlation to Putin or to any... And then you say, well, oh my God, it was this liar, he worked with Russia. Then how many Americans, or how many publishers, let's say, were indicted on working with Russian intelligence officers? Not one. Nobody was. Working with Russian intelligence officers? No, nobody was. Nobody. And the Russian intelligence officers were indicted for hacking the DNC. Why? They were indicted by CrowdStrike's knowledge. Then the rebuttal is, well, CrowdStrike was... There's no conflict of interest because even though CrowdStrike was hired by Democrats, which is an overt conflict of interest, all the experts say that their work was pristine. Well, who cares what the experts say, who are all Democrats anyway? You think Trump supporters are saying this? No. Well, Republicans are good. They're never Trumpers. They're worse than Democrats. The never Trumpers are hilarious. They're like, you like me? If I go on The View, would the ladies of The View love me? Mitt Romney really thinks he can be president. I've talked about Mitt Romney before. He thinks he can become president in 2024. He's like, why not? But see, they don't, the never Trump people don't understand. They went after, the left went after McCain, John McCain, in the most horrendous, nastiest way possible. Worse than anything Trump said. Worse. You can look at the writing from liberal journalists and writers regarding McCain in 2008. It was worse. But they forget about that. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. The statute is, and I know I'm talking about a lot of things other than just, of course they set up Trump. There was no evidence. The ODNI and DHS reports, the two major reports, intelligence reports, come with warranty disclaimers. Judgments, high confidence assessments, high confidence judgments might be wrong. So they literally say their judgments could be wrong. And then they say there are no guarantees. That's in the DHS report. So they're literally, the intelligence community, the only honest thing the only thing they're honest about is that they don't know what they're saying. They're not certain. Give me your thoughts. Happy Veterans Day. God bless all the veterans and their families. And check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now.